Hi, I'm Erin Brawford. I'm a business coach and strategist, and I help successful entrepreneurs figure out how to continue to make their highest contribution inside of their businesses. And often that includes and involves bringing on team members. And so making that transition from being in charge of everything to having to be a great leader, to being a kick-ass boss, can be really, really hard, but also provides a whole new level of freedom for you as a business owner, and just requires some important forethought to getting to a place where you're surrounded by people that you trust, that you know that the business is going to be run in the way that you want it to be run, and that you have excellent communication among team members to keep things going in the right direction. And so I have three important questions that I work with my clients on as they start to face some of the challenges that come with taking on new team members. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So the number one of three, the first question is, what are your strengths and weaknesses? Now, in order to make your highest contribution, you probably, in order to start your business in the first place and have run it successfully, you probably had an idea or have an idea of what you're really, really good at and in what ways those strengths can sometimes be your weaknesses. But if you haven't taken time to think about it recently, or if you haven't thought about how you would communicate those things to your team, this is a great exercise. And so in order to understand what processes or you need to put in place to support the things that you're not great at, or what people you need to put in place in order to best support the things that you're not great at or just don't want to do or don't feel inspired to do anymore, it is really important to understand what it is that are your strengths and what are your weaknesses. Okay, so number two question is, what are your core values? Core values for a solopreneur or an entrepreneur are really, whether they're for your business or for yourself, the guiding principles that dictate how you will behave toward your customers, how you want employees to behave. And so there really is no line at this point in your business, very likely, between your personal core values and your business's core values. And so thinking about these things now, early and often, give you a foundation, set a benchmark, and then as you need to start culling and or narrowing down on what are the ways of being that you really want your team to operate inside of, until you'll transition from understanding your giant list of core values that are dictating your personal behavior to, well, what does that really mean for my business, for my employees, and for my customers? So I highly encourage writing these things down, and there's lots of exercises that you can find on the internet in order to help prompt you through what are your core values. I'll have some on my website as well. But that is a super critical question when it comes to being an excellent leader and running a values-based or value-centric business. Number three, the third question is, what is your communication style, or what is your preferred communication style? So I'm talking about two things there. One is the medium or the channel. So do you prefer to communicate with your team over email? Do you prefer meetings? Do you prefer Slack conversations? Are there different kinds of levels of conversation that should happen on any of those channels? So all customer service challenges should definitely come through a personal touch base, but all systems questions should come through email. That's one part of it, the channel portion of it. The second is how you actually relate to each other, you and your team members, in how you prefer to communicate. And so this is tied into your strengths or your personality type, but it is important for you to understand that maybe the way that you prefer to communicate, perhaps you're a person who just wants to walk in the door and get the lowdown and understand exactly what's happening, boom, 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 and then the friendly, camaraderie stuff can come later. But if you have a team member who must, or really in order to feel cared for, needs to say, here, hi, how are you today? How was your weekend? Before they can get down to business, that's a really important thing to understand about your team member. And so if you can codify for yourself or write down for yourself what your preferred modes of communication are, and then you are able to help communicate that to your team, then that will help them understand how best to get from you what they need when they have questions or concerns or challenges. The great thing about all three of these things is that this, yes, it starts with you, but then all of these questions should also be asked of your team members. So what are their strengths and weaknesses? What do they think their greatest contribution to your business can and should be? Number two, what are their core values? What guides them, and what about your business aligns with who they are and why they want to work with and for you? And then number three, what is their preferred communication style, so that you can be sure to continue to grow your relationship and strengthen the bonds of trust, so that as you are willing and desiring to hand more off, you know that you are able to communicate well and can trust the people that you've put in place around you. Okay, so with those three questions answered for yourself and then taken to your team, you are laying a really strong foundation for being a kick-ass boss and growing your business in a strategic and intentional way. Leave me a comment or send me a message, Erin@erinbroford.com, if you have any questions or thoughts about this, and look for more content like this coming in future videos and on the website itself. Thanks. Have a great day.